Joining us now is Barry Melnkovic, and he's with Amtrak. Barry, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Privilege to be here. Thank you.
Now, you're in HR, so you're actually on the front lines of hiring and recruiting. What advice, I guess, would you give to CEOs and hiring managers about attracting veterans and hiring veterans in their organization?
Great question. And if you're looking through the lens of a CEO, I think the questions they ask when they're looking to attract talent is, how will this person make a difference for my company and my customers? And so I bridge that conversation with CEOs by saying, let me share the many examples. So if you start with attributes, the character, the integrity. In our business, safety is paramount. And so many of our veterans have worked in hazardous conditions. It's an environment that they would clearly be very well versed in. If you take a look at the skill sets in IT, finance, emergency management, police services for Amtrak, they have the skill sets and they have the character that's a great match to build a great company. And I think that's at the end of the day what a CEO is very interested in.
So what advice would you give to veterans who are transitioning now from the military into civilian service and working for a company like Amtrak?
I would say don't be limited by your MOS. So often when we actually interview veterans coming in, they're in the infantry, they're doing technology, they're not necessarily looking at the bigger picture. And the other thing is that they're very humble. And the counsel I would give veterans coming out is, interviewing is a survival skill. And you have been in the military learning to survive. This is where you've got to at least self-market yourself in a humble way, but you still have to self-market yourself.
That's got to be difficult for people, though. I think that's difficult for anyone not even working in the military to try to sell themselves.
I think it was a great question. That's why I'm appealing to people to come in with a good idea of what they want to do, but also a description of, and a thoughtful description of what they've accomplished and feel proud about, and communicate that. And do it in a humble way, certainly, but communicate it nonetheless.
So then once veterans maybe get their foot in the door then with a job, how do they continue to professionally develop themselves so they continue to succeed in an organization?
One, I would say, keep doing what you're doing. You've been successful. What are the things that have gotten you to where you're at? But there's a quote, something about, what got you there won't get you there. So what do you have to do to continually grow? Organizations are nothing but people, and people are either growing or dying. And from a professional standpoint, what are you doing to ask for the next assignment, to broaden yourself? Does the company, and Amtrak does, offer educational assistance? Could that be of help to you relative to increasing your job skills? What are your stretch goals when you sit down and have your annual performance review? How will you demonstrate increased value to the company and have fun doing it? And I think that's really important too. You got to have fun.
Do you think that more companies like Amtrak are now more cognizant of hiring veterans and tooling maybe some programs so that they can attract veterans to their company?
I can only speak to Amtrak, and Amtrak has a long history of supporting veterans. Our president and CEO, Joseph Boardman, is himself a Vietnam veteran. We take inspiration from Mr. Boardman. Tom Carper, former chairman of the board and current board member, also a veteran. Something we take seriously, but it predates their leadership at Amtrak for 41 years in business. But clearly from their leadership vantage points, they have very sensitive approaches to the needs of veterans. They have an understanding that's been transmitted through the organization. Roughly 17–18% of our 20,000 employees are veterans. Mr. Boardman has committed Amtrak to have 25% of all new hires be veterans by 2015. And I'm pleased to say, since that was announced in June of 2013, in August and September, we're tracking at 25% as we speak.
So then how do you incorporate in your daily work, doing HR for Amtrak, how do you incorporate looking to attract more veterans to the company?
It's out there every day. Out there every day, getting our brand out to veterans. We talk about personal situations like Sergeant Manny Cabrera of the United States Marine Corps. Left the Corps in '95, joined Amtrak in '97, started out on the railroad, worked himself up now to a director in our operation or engineering group. We talk about our educational assistance programs. We talk about going out on our MOS, kind of a translator of the skills that you have in the military. How does that translate to an Amtrak career? So infantry, you can be a track worker, you can be an equipment operator, you can be a conductor. There are a lot of things that translate that people may not necessarily totally appreciate until they talk to our talent acquisition team.
All right, Barry Melnkovic, thanks so much for joining us from Amtrak. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank all of our veterans as well.
Absolutely.